Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel Firdaus Moroccan Cuisine. In today's video I'm gonna be sharing with you a recipe for one of the most popular sweets in Morocco. It's made all year around in special occasions, also made in Ramadan and Eid celebrations. So I made it for Eid al-Fitr, so basically it's sweets that is made out of filo pastry and almond paste. So for this recipe I used about 700 grams of almonds. I used raw almonds and I separated them half fried and half plain. So the plain one I already grinded half of it, but I just left a little bit to show you in the video. So for the whole 700 grams I'm using 1 cup of granulated sugar. So some people, what they do, the quantity of the almonds you have, you do half, you grind it with half of that quantity of sugar, but I use less sugar because we're gonna fry them and dip them in honey. And I have about 2 tablespoons of butter that I'm gonna use for the paste, 1 tablespoon of cinnamon, and about quarter cup of orange blossom water, but I may need more. And of course I will need filo pastry. For this one I'm using medium filo pastry, which you can find in any store. One tip I want to share here: if you don't want to go through the hassle of boiling the almonds, peeling them and then drying them and then grinding them, you can use almond flours instead, and you just do the paste out of it directly, and honestly it saves time and it tastes just the same. So the first step I did is boil water and add the almonds there to boil a little bit so that the skin is easy to be peeled. So you let it until the water is boiled, and then as you can see here in the video, it's about 2 to 3 minutes. If you put it in hot water, then just leave it for 1 to 2 minutes, and then drain the hot water, rinse it a little bit with cold water, and just start peeling them. So after I peeled the almond, I put them on a tray on top of the paper towel, and the longer you let them to dry, the easier it's gonna be for you to grind. So you can even leave them overnight if that's possible. So for me, how I do this recipe is I fry half of the quantity of the almonds, and then I keep the other half fresh, just like it is. Sometimes if I want the whole quantity fried, I do so. But most of the people, they keep it as is. They don't fry the almonds, and sometimes I do that as well. But for me, I like that crunchiness of the nuts when you bite into the sweet, so that's why I do half fried and half not. But if you choose the option of not frying the almonds, that means you have to grind the almonds with sugar once and then do it very well, and then you might grind it for a second and third time, because it has to be that the texture of the paste has to be that very buttery and very soft, if that makes sense. But for me, honestly, anything that has nuts, I like to feel that crunchiness when you bite into the sweet, so that's why I do half fried and half not. Another option for you here, if you don't want to fry the almonds in the oil, but you want them to be cooked, so what I do sometimes is I just put a little bit of oil and I put them in a pan and I put them in the oven. So this is another option as well. So here what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grind the fried almond with the quantity of the sugar I have, and for the almonds that are not fried, I already grinded half of the quantity before I start the video, just to save time, and then I left a little bit so just to show you. And after that I'm gonna mix the whole thing and I'll show you the next steps. So you can either grind them very fine, which some people do, but I like them a little bit crunchy, because these ones are already cooked, but the other one I'm gonna grind them very, very well. So here after I added the butter and the orange blossom water, the quantity that I have, that I mentioned at the beginning of the ingredients, when I started mixing, the texture was still a little bit dry, and then you have to be able to make sure that you can make balls out of it once you mix everything. So if you feel like you need the extra butter and the orange blossom water, please make sure you add so. So for me here, I had to add a little bit, another tablespoon of butter, and I added about 2 tablespoons of orange blossom water. So now I'm gonna make small balls out of it. So because the triangles I'm making are kind of small, but if you want them bigger, then you can make them bigger. But I like small triangles, so I'll just make them into balls. And make sure the ones that you finished, make sure you cover them so the almonds doesn't dry out. So I'll do all this quantity and then we'll be back. So after I rolled all the quantity of the almonds that I have, I covered them with saran wrap so it doesn't dry, and I mixed about a tablespoon of flour with water. That one I will use when I'm closing the triangles, so when I'm frying them it doesn't open. So here I have the filo pastry open, so I'm gonna cut it into stripes to the size of the triangles that I need. So about like 1 inch or inch and a half. And then I take the first stripe that I cut and I'm gonna measure the second one. So once you cut it, whatever is left, make sure you put it back into the plastic where it was and add saran wrap on top. And then the ones that you cut, the stripes that you cut, make sure you also cover them in the saran wraps, and then you take one stripe at the time. That way the filo pastry doesn't dry out. So here, as you can see in the video, so when you take the first ball of the almonds, you put it at the corner of the stripe, and then you can start rolling it, and it's like you're going zigzags, kind of zigzags. At the same time, you're putting pressures on the edges so you can close those corners, and pressing gently on the middle so the almond can fill all the corners. So as you can see there on the video, and then I'm gonna repeat the process so you can get the idea. Once you finish rolling all the triangles that you have, so here I have a big quantity, but I'm gonna fry all of them and use them at once. Sometimes when I make this quantity, I freeze half of it like that, and then I fry it when I need it. Or you can fry the whole thing and then keep half in the freezer, or just they last longer so you can eat it as you go. So as you're frying them, make sure you keep flipping them so that to ensure that all the sides are cooked. And here you have to put the heat at medium so the filo pastry doesn't get burned fast, and then the inside is still not that cooked. Once the first batch is cooked, then you put it in the honey and you can fry the others. So by the time you fry the second batch, then you can take out the ones that are in the honey, you put them in the strainer, and then you put the other ones into the honey. This is the end of our video. I hope you liked today's recipe, and if you did, don't forget to give the video thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and share with your friends and family. And for those who have been supporting me from the beginning, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. And for those who just joined, I want to welcome you to my channel, and I'll hope to see you on the next video, and thank you so much for your support.